Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Salesforce AI Champions. Today I'll be going to talk about how to use the OmniScript as an action in FlexCard. So before we get started, please do like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. So in the last video I have talked about like how we can just use FlexCard as an action type, and we can just pass data from parent to child FlexCard and vice versa, like child to parent. So those kind of scenarios and use cases I have talked about, and those videos can be found in my OmniStudio playlist, and please check them out. So in this session I will be talked about like so this is I'm in FlexCard Designer, and in here we can see a contact name, and from here like we can just update or we can just launch an OmniScript from this FlexCard. And you can see this so this is like an action. So in here I have configured like the OmniScript as an action type, and we can see this action type as OmniScript, and in here I have called OmniScript passing the data like contact ID, and finally we can update a specific contact record. So let me show you the preview, and if I just click on preview, we can see that list of contact records are showing, and in here in each of the contacts we are seeing this update contact action button. So it's basically launches the OmniScript, and if I click any of them, like I am clicking on John Amos update contact, and if I just click on it, it will be redirected to the OmniScript page, and we can just place this flex card any of our console. And finally in here we can see contact details. So this John Amos, the contact name, then contact title, and then description of the contact, and in here we can update the description of the contact record. Like if I just update uh, so updated updated to, let me just put it updated to, and if I just click on next, it will be navigated to the contact record, and we can see the description got updated, right? So this will be my use case for today's demo, and I'll be building this whole scenario, this whole configuration from scratch for this tutorial. So please stay tuned up to the end to see all the configurations, like how to configure the OmniScript as an action type. I'll be building this OmniScript from scratch and all the steps from the scratch. So please stay tuned, and let me just close all the tabs, and let me just build the OmniScript first. Then I'll be just creating the data mapper extracts, then data mapper load, like uh, by stepwise. So let me just create a new OmniScript. I'll be just go to the OmniScripts, and I'll be just click on new to create a new OmniScript, and I'll provide the OmniScript name as edit contacts OmniScript demo. And let me just provide like while creating an OmniScript, as we know, like there are three uh, values are needed, like language, then type, subtype. Let me just put the type as edit contact OmniScript, and let me just click on save. So I am in OmniScript designer, and in the step element I'll be just drag and drop an action element like DataRaptor Extract. I'll be just drag and drop this action element here or outside the step element. So in here what will I will do, like I will just want to retrieve the contact records based on the context ID passed. So context ID is nothing but the one parameter we can pass into the OmniScript data JSON, based on which we can just fetch informations. So let me just provide the data raptor name like get contacts, and I'll be putting the label as same, and let me just create a new data raptor extract. So basically this data raptor extract will retrieve a specific contact record. right? So that is why I am just using this extract, and extract is doing nothing but retrieving Salesforce records. So on clicking on create new data raptor, I'll just redirect it to the providing the name of the data raptor. Like I want to just provide the name like get contact info dear extract, and I'll be just click on OK. And we just need to configure our data mapper extract, and I'll be just click on add new extract steps to add the object contact, and I'll provide the any of the label like contacts as a extract output path, and I'll be just providing the ID that needs to be equals to contact ID, or let me just provide con ID. So this con ID needs to be passed from the OmniScript as an context ID into this data mapper extract. And let me just configure few output mappings. And in here, I'll be just providing, I want to retrieve what are those contact information like contact name I want to retrieve, and I'll just provide the output JSON path as name. Then we want to retrieve like title, then contact ID, then we want to retrieve, and we just want to make sure that we can update the contact description, right? So I'll be just retrieving the descriptions as well, and let me just provide the output as description, and we are good with this mappings. So I'm not adding other information such as like phone number or email due to some PII information, so that will violate YouTube guideline guardrails. That is why I am not adding those informations here. I'll be just using those that is not related with personally identifiable information. That is why I am just I'll just update the description of the contact record, and in the preview in the edit params I'll be just add the key as con ID, and in here we can just pass any of the contact information. Let me just search for contacts, and I'll use this same like this John Amos contact records, and let me just provide the value as this one, and let me just click on execute, and we can see that we can retrieve the contact informations based on this con ID. So on the OmniScript I'll be just using the OmniScript, and to the informations that we are getting from this DataRaptor extract we'll just want to display those ones. So let me just drag and drop few fields like text, and in here we want to display the name of the contact. Then so in here in the before after the configuring the data mapper extract, we just need to pass the uh, input parameters data source. So our data source will be this context ID, and in here we should treat as context ID filter value. So filter value is needs to be same as this key. So this key con ID needs to be in here in the filter value. So context ID is nothing but on clicking on preview you can see this context ID. So or after providing the context ID, so this will be passed as a parameter, and this will be treated as a passing record ID, and based on that we can just update our omni-JSON data. And so this is how we can just configure this data mapper extract, and now we want to display those contact information in this step element. So I'll be just after adding this name we want to display the, so I'll just make sure those name cannot be edited, so I'll be make sure it is read-only mode, and we want to display like title, and in here I'll just put the title read only as well, and we want to display the contact ID, and this also needs to be read only. And finally we can just drag and drop the text area field input so that we can just display the description of the contact. So let me just update the element name as description, and this should be we can update, right? So let me check this up to this functionality, and I'll just click on preview, and we just can pass this contact ID. So I'll just pass this contact ID as a context ID, and let me just refresh this one, and we are not seeing the data. Let me just uh, hard refresh this page. Or we can just, as of now, we can activate this issue. So this happens in OmniStudio like due to some cache issues. So to figure out that thing, we can just activate this OmniScript. Once activated, we can just preview again, and we just need to pass this contact ID. So it's still not visible. Okay, let me check from the action debugger, and from the action debugger we can see, okay, con ID is not getting passed. That is why it's showing as null in the request data. That's why we are not getting the response. Okay, let me check. Let me deactivate this version first. Okay, this could be the issue. Without this merge syntax, we just need to pass this one input parameter data source, and let me recheck this one, and now we can see that we are getting data, and in the debug we can see that in the request data this cont ID is getting passed, and based on that we are getting this response for with the contact details. And so in here, so in the input parameter data source, the percentage should not be there. So merge syntax will not be applicable for here for the input parameter data source, since we are just getting the data from the OmniJSON data, since this we are getting directly from the OmniJSON data, this context ID. So now after configuring this one, what we just need to do, we just need to update the after updating the context from the user perspective, we just want to update the record directly in the Salesforce. So that is why we just need to configure our do load DataRaptor. So that part we'll just do. Before that, let me just update the element name as update contacts. So now I can just drag and drop this one. So this is our step element. So after this step element, we want to place that DataRaptor post action. So DataRaptor post action is doing nothing but we can just using this one, we can just save our record back to Salesforce. So let me just provide the name as save contacts, and the field label as this one, and we just want to create a new data raptor. So I'll be just click on new, and on clicking on it we just need to provide the data raptor name as the contact dear. So I'll be just click on OK, and we'll be redirected to this OmniStudio DataRaptor designer page, and we can see that the interface type is load and output object type is HObject, since we are just want to update contact records. So in here I'll be just add object, and in here I'll be just choose the contact, and in the fields I'll be just choosing, and we can see that since we are just creating this, we created this DataRaptor directly from the OmniScript designer page. So that is why we can see that as a input JSON, we are getting this JSON directly from the OmniScript. So if we are just creating this data mapper extract separately, in that case we just need to copy our data JSON from the OmniScript, from where, from here. So we can just copy this OmniScript data JSON from with by clicking on this clipboard, and we can just copy paste our JSON into into the input JSON path, so that it can be very useful for mapping. So after configuring the object as contact, since we just want to update the contact record, we just need to update the few mappings. What we just need to update, we just need to update this description of the contacts. So I'll just, and in here in the domain object field we just need to select the standard description field of the contact record. And since the contact is already present, that is why we just don't want to create a new contact. We just want to update the existing contact. So I'll be just using the the contact ID as a primary key, right? So I'll be just providing this one, and in here we will be just selecting this upsert key, so it will be looking for existing ID, and if the ID is present, it will update the existing contact record. And in here I'll be selecting this required for upsert, this should be required for upsert. So based on this ID found in the database, the contact will be updated, right? So I'll be just click on this, and after configuring this one we will be just good to go, and we can just test it out as well, but I will be just testing directly from the OmniScript designer. And from the design, after configuring this data mapper post, we can we just want to navigate to the updated contact record, right? That is why I'll be just using this navigate action, and I'll be just drag and drop this one, and I'll be just providing the name as navigate to contact, label as this one, and we want to go to the page reference type as record, that is good, and the object API name should be contact. We want to navigate to the contact record, and the record ID should be context ID, and we record action type will be view. So now we are just good to go, and I'll be just click on preview, and let me just update the contact record, so that John Amos contact description has been updated. So I'll be just click on next, and we can see that this DR contact ID is getting generated, and on clicking on this action debugger we can see that the ID, with the ID we are getting the response. So, and the navigate action will be work on clicking on this means only with the activated version, so we can test it out that as well. To check the contact has been updated, we can directly go to the contact record, and in the details section we can see that this description got updated, like John Amos contact description has been updated. So this is the recent text that I written, and after activating the OmniScript, we can refer the OmniScript as an action in the FlexCard. So 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 now I will just go to the FlexCard and OmniStudio FlexCard, and I'll be just click on new, and I'll be just providing the uh, FlexCard name as OmniScript Action FlexCard demo, and we are good to go on clicking on. So select resource type. So I'll be just using an existing data raptor that is basically fetch like different contact records based on an account ID, and if I just search for the contact records contact retrieve based on the account ID. So after selecting the um, DataRaptor, we can just click on next, and before that we just want to update the key value as well. So if I just open quickly this DataRaptor Extract, so let me just go to the DataRaptor contact retrieves. So this one, and we can see that this is a interface type of extract, and we are just passing this account ID, and based on this account ID we can just fetch different contact records. Like for this account ID we are getting this contact records. So this is how we can just use this OmniScript data raptor extract to display the like list of contact records. So this is the key that needs to be passed as a key, and we can just reuse the value like this one, account ID, and we can just click on next. And if I just test the response on clicking on fetch, we can just see list of contact records and their JSON as well, and I'll be just click on save. And now we can just use this block element, and I'll be just drag and drop this block element, and in the build section from the fields and from, let me just save and fetch again, and from the build, let me just refresh the page once the fields are not showing currently. And now we can see that the block element is placed, and in the build we are now getting the fields as well, and we just want to display the list of contact records. And on placing the field that we are getting from that existing this data raptor extract, so we are just placing this contact, and now I'll be just drag and drop the action element here, right? So this action element will be responsible for updating the contact record. So now now let me just update the configuration for this action element, and the label should be update contact hide icon displays button, and I'll just choose this one brand, or let me just choose this one success. And in here we want to configure as an action OmniScript as an action. So before that, let me just copy the OmniScript name. So type is edit contact. So in the action properties, we will be just selecting the action type as OmniScript, and in here we just need to provide the OmniScript name like edit contact OmniScript, and the layout type should be lightning. That is good. And in the context ID, so this context ID means this contact ID that we are getting from the DataRaptor. So this is the DataRaptor. Based on account ID, we are getting these contact informations associated with that account, and we are getting the contact ID as well. So we'll be just passing this contact ID to the OmniScript based on the user selection, right? So in the context ID, I am passing the contact ID, and we should be good to go. And let me just preview this one. And we can see that we can see the list of contact records as we are expecting, and we can see these buttons that should launch the OmniScript. And if I just click on any of them, and on clicking on this contact record, we can just see that we are getting navigated to the respective OmniScript page, and we can see and we can just update the contact information, like updated uh, newly. And if I just click on next, we should be navigated to the contact record, and on the clicking on details, we can see that contact description is also getting updated. So this is how we can just create a simple OmniScript, and we can use that OmniScript as an action in the FlexCard. So that's all for today's demo. So this will be part of this series, like OmniScript mini projects. So I'll be covering more use cases and tutorials for OmniScript, OmniStudio, Salesforce, and Data Cloud topics. So please stay tuned, and if you like this video, please do like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.